What is up, Duelist? Super Insane 18 here, and we just did the Snake Eye deck profile and combo tutorial, so you guys know what's next. It's gonna be Fire King. Now, before we actually hop on into the deck profile, I want to let you guys know to stick around until the very end because we are going to be showing you two brand new combos on top of this deck profile, utilizing the Azmina engine as well as the brand new Ulcanix monster. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Of course, to start off the deck profile, we are on our one copy of Legendary Fire King Ponix, aka Chicken Nugget. You really only need the one because it's not really that good to open. You definitely would rather access it from your deck. And then we also have our two copies of Fire King Courtier Ulcanix. This card is actually one of the better normal summons in the deck. The only reason you don't max out on it as 3 is because we're already playing over 40 cards, and it isn't really good on its own. You do have to destroy a fire monster. Granted, every fire monster you have pretty much wants to be destroyed, but it's just really not worth putting at 3 in my opinion. We have our one copy of the Fire King Arvada. This is one of the incredible end board pieces that we are going to be showing you in the combos at the end, as well as two copies of Fire King High Avatar Kirin. Now, this is a card that is mostly used to just help you dodge hand traps, but it also helps you just flat out extend your board as well. We are on both of the Garunix now. We have the Sacred Fire King Garunix as well as the Fire King High Avatar Garunix. The reason we are playing this now is because the Ulcanix is able to summon it. You do want to make sure that you never actually destroy this card, otherwise you will board wipe yourself, but it does let you kind of just extend for further link plays. That's actually it for the Fire King monsters. We are on a couple of Snake Eyes as well. We have our one Ash, our one Poplar, and our one Oak. These are just extenders, or rather alternative starters, depending on what you actually see. And of course, we have our one copy of Flamberge as well. We do have the best starter in the deck. That is going to be 3 copies of Diabellstar the Black Witch, and that's it for the monsters. Everything rest is now hand traps. We are on 3 copies of Mulcharmy Fuwalos. Again, like I said in the Snake Eye video, these are definitely Fuwalos. Please ignore the Prorulia. We just don't have 3 Fuwalos, so we're using them as stand-ins, but you absolutely want 3 of the Fuwalos here. We are on 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Not only is it fire, meaning that it can potentially help you extend your end board, but it's just the most generically used hand trap. We are actually on 3 copies of Ghost Ogre. I talked about this a little bit in the Snake Eye video, but for this particularly, they should probably be Dominus Impulse. I just unfortunately don't own Dominus Impulse, but Ogre is still an incredible option for the current format, as well as 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. And that's going to do it for the actual monsters. On to the spells. We have our Sanctuary and our Island. These are just the mandatory one-ofs for the Fire King strategy. And of course, we have our consistency pieces with the 3 copies of Wanted and the 1 copy of Original Sinful Spoils. Pairing with these, we have some new Sinful Spoil cards with the Deception. This is, again, only at 2, partially because I only have the 2, but genuinely, I just don't really think it's that great of a starter. It's so super specific, needing itself, plus a monster, plus any other discard, and I just think it's really not all that great, so I don't think you would want to play it at more than 2. But on that same side, or on the opposite side of that coin, it does get you an Omni Negate very, very quickly, so you do want to play it. We have our 1 copy of the Hollowed Azmina, and then, of course, our 3 copies of Bonfire. That is just because we can search pretty much whatever we want here. Not whatever we want, we can really only search the Snake Eye stuff, but the Snake Eye stuff is still incredible. And then finishing up the main deck are 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, leaving us at 42 cards. Let's quickly run through the extra deck and then get to those combos. Now, the extra deck is going to be quite different than the Snake Eye one because we are playing a lot of cards that Snake Eye just genuinely wouldn't play. Of course, first off, we have our 2 fusions with the Azmina fusions. These are your Searchers and your Omni Negate, as well as the 1 Garunix Exceeds. This is for an easy board wipe. We are on our 1 copy of Relinquished Anima, because if your opponent plays into it, it's pretty dang good. But not just that, we also just need it as a dark monster, because surprise, surprise, we're playing dark later on. We have our IP and our SP just as our good generic end board disruptions as well. And then we're also on 1 copy of Doolittle Chimera. Now, this card is a little bit niche, but you can actually destroy it and recur your resources. And we have a bunch of destroy effects, so it's worth playing. We have our 2 Charmers with Dark and Hida. These are just really good for the current format. still fire format. And then the final Link 2s we have are the Nightmare Phoenix and the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf. The Sunlight Wolf is a little bit of a flex spot if you ask me. It's used to recur your resources, but that's not really too big of an issue with this deck. So you might be able to switch that out. We have our one Link 3 with the Promethean Princess because this card is just absolutely incredible. And finishing up the deck, we have our one copy of the Ambler Whale for our end board, and of course our OTK package with the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix and the Zealantis. So without further ado, let's show you guys the combos. So for our first combo, we are going to show you how strong an Ulcanix can be as your normal summon, and with any fire monster in your hand to destroy, just how far it can get you. For the example of the combo, I am showing you the fire monster just being utterly useless as one that you would want to destroy, but keep in mind that if you destroy something that has a destruction effect, it can obviously be a little bit better. We are going to start things off by normal summoning out the Ulcanix and destroying the fire monster in our hand. This is going to allow us to add from our deck, of course, our copy of Ponix. Now the way this works is Ponix technically sees the destruction of the fire monster, meaning that it is able to activate its effect in hand to special summon itself. And of course, when it is summoned, we can use its effect to add our copy of Sanctuary. We'll go ahead and activate the Sanctuary, which of course will activate the Fire King Island from our deck to our side of the field, and then we can use our Fire King Island effect, activating it to destroy the copy of Ulcanix. This is going to allow us to add our copy of Sacred Fire King Garunix. Now we have a chain link here. We can use the Ulcanix as chain link 1 and the Garunix as chain link 2. Garunix is going to summon itself out to our side of the field, and the Ulcanix is going to go ahead and summon the original Fire King High Avatar Garunix from our deck to our side of the field. Here we can then activate the effect of Sacred Fire King Garunix in an additional chain, which will allow us to destroy our copy of Arvada from our deck, and then the Arvada will activate since it was destroyed, allowing us to special summon back out our Ulcanix. Here we can take the Ulcanix and the Garunix, and we can link both of these off into a copy of IP Masquerena, and now we can go ahead and make our Promethean Princess. Using the Masquerena and the Ponix, we can go ahead and go into our Promethean Princess, which will be able to use the effect to then re-summon out our copy of Garunix, or Arvada, which is going to act as a negate on our end board. Finally, we can take the Princess and our Garunix, and we can go ahead and link those off into an Ambler Whale, and that is going to be our end board. Now, this might not sound all that threatening, but we of course have a negate off of the Arvada. We have the Princess in Graveyard, which can pop a card our opponent controls. When the Ambler Whale is popped, we will be able to summon back out the IP Masquerena, meaning we can go into something like SP Little Knight for additional interruptions as well. Not to mention we still have the Garunix in grave when something is destroyed, and we still have 3 cards left in our hand. And for our second and final combo, we are going to show you the power of the Azmina line as well. You can start with Deception, Wanted, or Diabellstar, and the combo is almost identical, so just keep that in mind, but you do need a monster for you to tribute off of the Deception, as well as any card that you are willing to discard off of the Diabellstar. So let's show you guys what we're going to do. We are going to start with our copy of Deception and use its effect tributing whatever monster we have, which is of course going to add us our copy of the Hollowed Azmina. We can activate the Hollowed Azmina, revealing the Riselago, and then sending the Deception to the graveyard to then special summon out the Riselago that we just revealed. Using the effect on summon to add any of our Sinful Spoils, we are of course going to add our Wanted of Sinful Spoils, and we can go ahead and activate that, which will allow us to search for our copy of Diabellstar the Black Witch. Now that's where that other discard comes in handy, because we are going to summon out the Diabellstar by getting rid of that last discard, and of course the Diabellstar will activate on summon, allowing us to set our copy of original Sinful Spoils to our side of the field. We can go ahead and link off the Riselago and the Diabellstar into our copy of IP Masquerena, and then we can use the graveyard effect of the Hollowed Azmina to shuffle the Riselago back into our deck, which will allow us to add it back to our hand. Now, if you didn't know, the effect of Hollowed Azmina is not once per turn, so we can go ahead and activate that and send our face-down Sinful Spoils to the graveyard to reveal and summon out our copy of Ilia Sylvia, meaning that we now have an Omni Negate on our board, and we haven't hit 5 summons yet. So we can go ahead now and access our Fire King engine by using the original Sinful Spoils, banishing it from our field, or from our graveyard rather, to target the Diabellstar the Black Witch. That is going to allow us to add us our copy of Ponix, and then we have to put that Diabellstar back on the bottom of the deck. But if you haven't noticed, we have not normal summoned yet, meaning we can go ahead and normal summon out our Ponix. Ponix will activate on summon to add us our copy of Sanctuary, which we can then go ahead and activate, and Sanctuary, of course, will let us activate our copy of Fire King Island from our deck. We can use the effect of Fire King Island to destroy the Ponix and add us our copy of Garunix. Garunix does see the destruction of the Ponix, meaning we can activate its effect to summon itself from our hand. Using the Garunix effect on field, we can go ahead and destroy our copy of Arvada, which will of course activate the Arvada to allow us to special summon back our Ponix from the graveyard. Here we can use the IP and the Ponix. This will allow us to go into our copy of Promethean Princess, same as the last combo. Promethean Princess will then go ahead and summon back out our Arvada, giving us a negate on our end board, and finally we can take the Princess and the Garunix and link both off into the Ambler Whale. So now we've ended on the exact same end board, but plus 1 Omni Negate, which we made before we really committed anything to the board, so we can play through whatever hand traps our opponent might have. And there you guys have it. That is going to be my Fire King Azmina deck profile as well as combo tutorial. If you guys enjoyed it and learned something, you know the deal. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, and share with your friends. And as always, do not forget to check out the channel sponsor Dueling Guard using code Insane18 or my link in the description down below. You can not only get a discount on some of the best TCG products that I have ever had in my life, but you can also help support the channel so I can continue bringing you amazing videos like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.